If I had one!
What's going on, everybody? It's Blue here at Blue Bears Games, and this week I'm bringing you a very special edition of Blue's Budget Battle Brews. Why is it special, you ask? Simply put, today, 3 years ago, this very date, I actually started the channel. So, this is our 3-year anniversary, and we're going to be doing a deck that I've been meaning to do for a while. Somebody actually requested a deck like it, so it all worked out perfectly. The channel was predicated on doing builds like this anyway, so it's nice that for our 3-year anniversary we're going to be doing it. So, what was the deck, you ask? This one comes as a request from our friend Zeke, who has previously ordered a couple of decks. He actually, I think, is one of the starters of all the new custom build decks that I have been doing recently for the last, it seems to be 5 months now. So he ordered 2 specific decks, and we're going to go over this one this week, and next week we will be doing another one. So let's just get started, and I will tell you, it is all about Eldrazi Ingest. So for those of you that are not aware of the smaller Eldrazi that were out in Battle for Zendikar, they all have Devoid, or most of them have Devoid, where they have a mana symbol that has color to it, but they themselves are not the color identity because Devoid takes away all their color. Some of them have Ingest, which is the deck we're going to build today, and I'll explain what that is. And then some of them have other abilities with taking things that were exiled, usually with Ingest, putting them back into their owner's graveyards, and doing an ability. So the request was simply put Ingest and in Pioneer. So that was the challenge. My original build wasn't Pioneer legal, so they requested to change it to a Pioneer legal deck. So we're going to start off with Ingest, and Ingest, I will explain to you, is this. So Ingest says whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, that player exiles the top card of his or her library. So that's what Ingest means. Basically, it's a form of mill, only this time it exiles them instead of putting them into their graveyard. So anytime I say a creature has Ingest, that's what we have. So as we know, I like to curve out 1, 2, 3, 4 on most of my decks. So the 1-drop is a black card called Sludge Crawler. It's a 1 to cast 1/1 with the Void, because they all the Eldrazi in Battle for Zendikar were colorless, whether or not they had color mana symbols or not. And then Ingest, and then he has a buff ability of, for every 2 you put into it, you can give it +1/+1 until end of turn. So pretty basic. There were only 2 choices for my 1-drop. There was a black one and a blue one. So I went with this one because it can buff itself later. The 2-drop is Mist Intruder. It's a 2 to cast, 1/2 flying. Obviously Devoid and Ingest because that's the theory of the deck. Got 4 of them. The rares. So 2 rares are going to be duplicates. I don't normally do that for my Blues Budget Battle Brews, but this is a special request from somebody, and this card fit the deck too well to not put 2 of them in there. So it's Fathom Feeder. It's black and blue. It's a 1/1 with obviously Devoid, because they all have Devoid. It has Death Touch, which is a nice little bonus. Ingest, because that's the theme of the deck. And then it has a nice little ability here. So for a black, a blue, and 3, you can draw a card, and this is for each time you can pay that mana. That doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be able to do it more than once a turn, but you can at least do it on your opponent's turn. Then each opponent exiles the top card of their library. So, in essence, it's draw a card, and then without doing the damage, you can ingest one of their cards. Got 2 of them in there. Like I said, normally I don't put 2 of a specific rare in. I like to diversify the amount of rares and what can be done. In this deck, it kind of called for it. Alright, 3-drop. Dominator Drone. So it's 3 to cast for a 3/2, so good stats there. So the extra power helps. Devoid and Ingest, like all the rest of them. This one also has the ability that when Dominator Drone enters the battlefield, if you control another colorless creature, which I'm pretty sure you will, you have each opponent lose 2 life. So it kind of gets you there faster is what this is. So it can do either, it can be a blocker, it can be an attacker. Most of the time you're going to be attacking with this deck. You're also ingesting, so you're eating away at their library, and then also when it comes into play, you can make it your opponent lose life, so they die quicker. So I got 4 of them in there. So remember, they bounce off each other too. So if one's in play, another comes into play. So then you're dealing you're making each opponent lose 2 life for the fact that there's another one in play. And it goes with all the other cards in here. There's only a couple of spells in here that actually have color. Anyway, the next one. So we're going to do another 3-drop. We're going to do Menthic Infiltrator. So it's a 3 to cast, 1/4. Good for blocking because it has a 4 defense. That's a lot. That's a high defense for a 3-cast creature. Again, Devoid and Ingest, but it can't also be blocked. So you're going to be at least being able to get 1 damage in every time you can attack, and also ingesting 1 card a turn at minimum, at least with him out. So got 4 of them bad boys. Next rare is Wasteland Strangler. Now this one doesn't have the typical ingest like the rest of them, but it's in here for a reason. It's a 3-drop. It's a 3/2. Again, good power to toughness for a 3-drop. But he's a little different. He actually does the other thing that some of these Battle for Zendikar Eldrazi do, the smaller Eldrazi, if you will. He does the opposite. So when he enters the battlefield, you may take a card that has been exiled from your opponent. So whenever they have an exile pile, I'm sure you take one of those and put it into their graveyard, and then he has the ability to give a creature -3/-3 until end of turn. So he's in here because while he's not ingest, he's the opposite. He actually takes that exile card, puts it in their graveyard. He actually is creature removal, and creature removal always good when you're trying to do something with an attack. Okay. Thought Harvester is our 4-drop. There's 2 of these in here. So he's a 4 to cast, 2/4, flying, devoid, no ingest. He has a weirder, different way to do ingest. So whenever you cast a colorless spell, target opponent exiles the top card of their library. That is ingests with less steps. You don't have to attack, you just have to cast things, and you get the ingest. So not technically ingest, but it's close enough. The mythic that I've included is Oblivion Sower, so it's the only thing in here that's going to cost more than 4. It's a 6-drop. He's a 5/8, so he's big, right? And then when you cast him, target opponent exiles the top 4 cards of his or her library, or their library. And then you may put any number of land cards that player owns in exile onto the battlefield under your control. Now, the good thing about that ability is that includes he didn't have to exile them himself. That can include other things that were ingested from previous battles, previous combat steps, other abilities from this dude here, the Thought Harvester. It doesn't matter how they got there, as long as they're in exile, he gets to take them and put them into play on your side. So it's kind of like insult to injury, in my opinion. Spells are pretty simple. We're in blue, so I wanted card draw, and I wanted a card draw that was a little bit more unique, so I went with Frantic Inventory. So it starts off slow and then ramps up. It's a 2 to cast instant that lets you draw cards, and then the good part is you get to draw a number of cards equal to a number of Frantic Inventories in your graveyard. So the first time you cast it, there are none in there, so you get to draw the 1. The second time you do it, if there's one in the graveyard still, you'll get to draw 2, and this is where it gets good, because for 2 mana you can then draw 3, and then for 2 mana you can then draw 4 at instant speed. So I want to do a little something different, plus it fits into Pioneer. Creature removal was a little weird. I wanted a 1 mana value creature removal spell. The problem is that the quintessential 1 mana removal spell is a $4 or $5 card, so you can't really put them in a $20 budget. So I went with Defile instead. So it's a 1 to cast instant that gives target creature -1/-1 for each swamp you control. So when it matters, it may be more than enough to kill something. So 3rd turn, if you've got 3 swamps in play, you'll be able to do for 1 mana kill a 3/3. Just like the Wasteland Strangler gives -3/-3, wherever that thing is. It's in here somewhere, I promise you. It's in here. And I'm just not going to find it. Alright. Anyway, so like the Wasteland Strangler, there it is, of course I find it. It gives -3/-3. It could be anything as long as you have the swamps in play. In later game, it could kill a lot higher of a toughness thing. So I went with something more unique. I try out new things in every build. I get feedback from the people who get them. And usually it's pretty positive, so we're going to try that out this time. Spell Shrivel, it's not really removal, but it's counter magic, so it's 3 to cast, it's devoid. It counters the spell unless its controller pays 4, and then if the spell was countered, it exiles. If you can't tell, the whole thing is all about exiling your opponent's cards. I want to try this out. I have these saved up, and I have these set aside because I want to try these a little bit more. Alright, so say you get a slow start, you have to have some kind of like reset button. So Flaying Tendrils is the reset button. It's 3 to cast, it's a sorcery, it's devoid, and then all creatures get -2/-2 until end of turn, and then of course you exile all creatures that died from this instead of if they go to the graveyard. So as you can see, more exiling. This is my reset, so you can go a little slower, let them build up a board, and then wipe the board, and then start doing your stuff. Then Torment of Venom. So it's a 4 to cast instant. Put 3 -1/-1 counters on target creature. Its controller loses 3 life unless he or she sacrifices another non-land permanent or discards a card. So this one's also a little different. I haven't used this one yet. This is something I also set aside I wanted to try. So it's 4 to cast, so it's a little bit on the higher end. However, the amount of stuff it does is pretty good. So we can put 3 -1/-1 counters on something. So if it's something big, it makes it weaker. If it's something small enough, it'll kill it. And then they either lose 3 life, which is forwarding the whole point of this deck is killing your opponent, or they sacrifice another permanent or discard a card. So no matter what, you're getting something out of it the second part of the ability. You're getting either them losing 3 life, sacrificing a non-land permanent, or discarding a card. So all good stuff. So I got 4 of them in there. And then the rest is the lands. So 4 Dismal Backwaters. I went with these. I like the life gain on them because if you're going to start off slow, you want to have some life, extra life to survive a little longer. And then I've got, I believe it's 8 swamps and 8 islands, and of course we always put the link to the deck list in the description if you want to see everything that way. So, in a nutshell, that's pretty basic. It's my Ingest Devoid mini Eldrazi is what I'm calling it. It's obviously it's just Ingest is the name of the deck, but it's mini Eldrazi. So that's the deck build we went with for Zeke, as his request was Ingest and didn't give me any colors, so I went with blue black because it seemed like they were the best two colors. That's our 3-year anniversary video. So I want to thank everybody who has been subscribing to the channel, purchasing decks, sharing out my stuff to everybody else, buying the mystery packs, all this stuff that helps keep the channel alive. So for that, I thank all of you. I've got a couple of close personal friends that I've made through the channel. You got Joe, Zeke is one of them. I got two Ashleys, actually. There are 2 of you, yes. You've all been great, everybody. I know I didn't mention everybody because it would take me a while, but I want to thank you all for all the support you guys have, all guys and gals, and everything in between, have given me in the channel and supported the idea that I have here going. So that's the video for the week. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, if you want to ask anything, you can go to the Facebook page. It's bluebearsgames.online. You can you can send me an email. It's bluebearsgames@gmail.com, or you can put something in the section below in the comments section there, and we'll have a discussion there. So other than that, please do me the favor, like the video. We are on 3-year anniversary. You got to give us a like for that. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. I have a new thing that I'm going to be doing for the 3rd year of our channel. I'm going to be doing a new short that's in addition to the pack cracking episodes that you see daily. And then share this out to somebody looking to do mini Eldrazi Ingest. Anyway, I will see you all next week. Enjoy your weekend, and have a good one.